A sharp crack echoes through the dark hall as a gust of wind slams the ancient doors open, scattering loose pages across the floor like frightened birds. Taro freezes mid-step, his breath caught, as if the whole monastery has stopped breathing with him. A single candle flickers, bending sideways, its flames stretched as though pulled by some unseen hand deeper inside the archive room. Taro's heart pounds. He shouldn't be here at this hour, yet something pulled him awake moments before. The smell of smoke, faint but unmistakable. He steps closer, his fingers trembling as he reaches for a fallen page, only to see a fresh burn mark seared into its corner. It's still warm. Someone has been here, and they tried to burn the scriptures. A low creak rises behind him. Taro turns, muscles tight, expecting a shadow to leap. But nothing moves. Only the silence grows heavier. Then from the darkness, a soft glowing ember rolls toward his foot and dies, leaving him staring at its fading light, cold fear settling into his bones. Taro steps deeper into the archive, each breath sharp in his chest. The burned page weighs in his hand like a warning. He whispers to himself, trying to understand who would dare damage the sacred texts. The darkness ahead seems thicker now, almost alive. As he walks, the candles lining the walls sputter, each flame shrinking as if hiding from something. His footsteps echo too loudly, bouncing back with strange timing that makes him feel followed. A soft shuffle brushes behind him. He spins, heart hammering. Nothing again. Yet, he can feel it. Some presence watching him from the shadows. He swallows hard and moves toward the faint smell of smoke coming from the room where the scriptures are kept. If someone really tried to burn them, then everything the monastery stands for may already be in danger. Taro approaches the scripture chamber, the air growing warmer with each step. The scent of burned parchment is stronger now, thick and bitter. He slows, wondering if he should call for an elder. But something inside urges him forward. He pushes the door open and finds the room empty, though the fire pit in the center glows with soft red heat. A chill runs through him. The scriptures are stored in sealed chests, untouched. Whoever tried to burn something didn't finish the job. His eyes fall to faint footprints in ash leading toward the open window. The prints are small, almost childlike. He frowns. No monk would enter here without permission. The silence deepens as he kneels by the fire pit, the heat brushing his face. Someone stood here moments ago. They wanted something destroyed. But what? The warmth of the ash fades from Taro's fingers as a sudden gust bursts through the window, scattering embers in a delicate arc. He shields his face and rises quickly, heart racing. Someone was here. Someone young, small, and fast. He steps toward the window and stares out into the dark courtyard below. Lanterns sway in the wind. For a moment he thinks he sees a shadow dart along the wall. A figure, or his imagination. His mind feels tangled, pulled between fear and curiosity. Whoever entered the chamber had a reason. One bold enough to risk punishment. Taro tightens his grip on the burnt page. The monastery may be peaceful on the outside, but something unseen is stirring inside its walls, and he has walked straight into the middle of it. Taro turns from the window, ready to search the courtyard, but steps freeze when a soft voice calls his name from the doorway. He spins and finds Enna standing there, her face pale. She shouldn't be awake either. She clutches her hands together as if afraid to open them. Taro senses she knows something. He approaches slowly, trying not to frighten her. Ina backs up a step, eyes darting to the fire pit and then to the burnt page in his hand. She whispers that she heard someone crying earlier near the archive and followed the sound but became too scared to go in. Her voice trembles as she admits she thinks the person wasn't a monk at all. Taro feels the air shift around them. If someone from outside entered the monastery unseen, then the danger is far deeper than a burnt page. Taro steps into the courtyard with Ina close behind him. The air feels colder than it should, as if the night is holding its breath. Lanterns sway softly, throwing long, trembling shapes across the ground. Taro follows the faint line of ash trailing from the archive door, each step echoing through the stillness. Ina keeps glancing over her shoulder, her fear almost loud enough to hear. As they reach the stone walkway, Taro crouches to study a small footprint pressed into the dust. It's the same shape he saw near the fire pit. Someone has been slipping through the monastery in secret. Taro's heart tightens as he imagines the courage, or desperation, it would take to enter forbidden rooms in the dead of night. A distant chime rings from the prayer tower, soft but unsettling, as if warning them to stop searching. Taro rises slowly, gripping the burnt page tighter. Whatever truth they're chasing isn't hiding, it's waiting. The quiet courtyard gives way to the stone hallway leading toward the monks' sleeping quarters. Taro and Ina move with careful steps, ears tuned to every whisper of wind. Ina stays close, her voice barely above a breath as she insists the crying she heard sounded like it came from someone lost, not dangerous. Taro wants to believe her, but the ashes, the footprints, and the half-burned page feel like pieces of a puzzle that shouldn't exist inside a peaceful monastery. As they near the wooden door of the quarters, a soft tap echoes from within. Taro holds a hand out to stop Ina. Another tap follows. Slow, uneven, almost like someone knocking but unsure if they should enter or escape. The uncertainty tightens in Taro's chest. Whoever is on the other side isn't hiding from them. They're hiding from something else. The tapping stops the moment Taro reaches for the door. Silence falls so heavy it feels like the air thickens around them. Taro pushes the door open just enough to peek inside. The room is empty except for neat sleeping mats and a single candle burning low. No sign of movement. No sign of life. But the candle flame bends sideways, as if someone rushed past only seconds earlier. Taro steps inside and scans the room. Ina stays by the door, whispering that something doesn't feel right. He agrees. The monks sleep deeply. None of them would be wandering at this hour. Taro kneels near the candle and spots a thin trail of soot leading toward the window. Every clue pushes him toward the same truth. Someone small, quick, and frightened is hiding in the monastery, and they may not have long before the elders notice something is wrong. He rises, determined to follow. Taro follows the soot trail through the sleeping quarters and into the outer hall, where cold air rushes around him. He pauses near a storage alcove and squints into the darkness. Ina, hesitant but brave, joins him, whispering that the crying she heard earlier might mean the intruder is hurt. Taro feels a tug of worry at her words. If someone was desperate enough to burn a page, maybe they were running from something far worse. A soft clatter breaks the silence. Taro spins toward the alcove as a small shape darts behind a stack of wooden crates. He takes a step forward, careful not to startle whoever is hiding. Ina grips his sleeve, urging him to be gentle. Taro's voice softens as he calls out, promising they won't harm anyone. The air stills, waiting for an answer. A trembling breath escapes from behind the crates. Taro freezes, his heartbeat quickening. Someone is there, small, afraid, and trying not to be heard. Taro kneels slowly, lowering himself to the intruder's height. Ina crouches beside him, her eyes soft with concern. Taro speaks gently, telling the hidden person that he has no reason to run. For a moment, nothing happens. Then a tiny hand appears. Gripping the edge of a crate, a thin figure steps hesitantly into the moonlight. A child, not much younger than Ina, covered in dust and ash. Their clothes are torn, their eyes trembling with fear. Taro and Ina exchange shocked glances. A child wandering into the monastery at night, burning scriptures and hiding from monks. Nothing about this makes sense. But the fear in the child's eyes is real, and Taro knows their night has changed forever. The child flinches at every sound, eyes darting from shadow to shadow as if expecting danger to leap at him. Taro keeps his voice soft, asking the boy for his name, but the child only shakes his head and curls his hands close to his chest. Ina reaches out gently, offering a steady presence. The boy seems torn between running and collapsing. Taro notices the soot on the boy's sleeves, the same shade that covered the burnt page. He asks if the boy was the one in the archive. A faint nod confirms it. Fear, not mischief, drove his actions. The boy tries to speak, but his voice breaks into a small whimper. Taro feels a protective spark rise in him. Whatever forced this child into the monastery wasn't simple. A distant gong echoes through the halls, morning rounds beginning early. If the elders find the boy now, they may not listen to explanations. Taro realizes they have only moments to gain the child's trust before everything spirals out of their control. The boy finally whispers a single word. His name, Kyo. The sound is so small that Taro barely hears it, yet it feels like a door opening. Ina asks if he is hurt. Kyo shakes his head but clutches his arm tightly, making Taro suspect the truth is different. When Taro gently reaches toward him, Kyo steps back in fear. Taro stops immediately, showing he won't force him. The distant gong rings again, closer this time. Kyo's eyes widen with panic. He begs them in a cracked whisper not to let the elders find him. Taro and Ina exchange a troubled look. What could make a child so terrified of monks known for peace? Taro tells Kyo they will protect him, but to do that they must know why he came here. Kyo hesitates, trembling. His voice breaks as he explains he came to stop something terrible. Something hidden inside the scriptures. Taro feels his breath catch. The mystery is far deeper than he imagined. Kyo's breathing grows uneven as he struggles to speak. Taro urges him to take his time. Ina gently places her hand on Kyo's, helping him steady himself. Kyo explains that he found a hidden note inside an old scroll days ago, outside the monastery walls. The message warned that a monk had twisted the scriptures long ago, hiding a dangerous lie within them. Kyo didn't understand the writing, but he knew enough to fear it. When he tried to show the note to someone in his village, no one believed him. So he followed the mountain paths to seek help from the monks themselves. But when he arrived, he overheard two monks whispering about shadows in the archive and something they refused to let be found. Terrified, Kyo tried to burn the note before it fell into the wrong hands, so only to panic and flee. Taro listens in stunned silence. The idea of deceit buried in sacred text sends a cold shiver through him. Kyo slowly reveals the torn scrap of the hidden note he failed to burn. The edges are scorched, the ink faded, but a single line remains clear enough to read. Truth must be freed, even if flame must clear the path. Taro studies the words, feeling an ache in his chest. The phrase sounds nothing like the teachings he knows. Could someone have really changed the scriptures? Ina leans close, whispering that maybe the elders know more than they admit. Taro feels conflicted. He trusts Master Sojin deeply, but even good hearts can hide pain or mistakes. Kyo's eyes fill with fear as footsteps echo from the far end of the hall. Someone is approaching. Taro's instincts sharpen. If the elders find Kyo while he holds a forbidden note tied to the scriptures, they might assume the worst. Taro makes a quick decision. They need to hide Kyo before questions begin. Taro guides Kyo and Ina quickly toward a storage room near the courtyard, keeping low and silent. The footsteps behind them grow louder. Steady, confident, belonging to someone who suspects something. Kyo trembles but follows without protest. Taro opens the storage door and gestures for them to enter. Inside, crates and woven baskets crowd the space, leaving only narrow paths. Taro reassures Kyo they'll keep him safe, no matter what the elders say. Ina nods fiercely in agreement. As they hide, the footsteps stop just outside the door. The silence is sharp. A deep voice calls out, asking who is awake at this hour. Taro recognizes it, Brother Rin. Strong, strict, and loyal to the rules. Taro's heart races. He can't let Rin discover Kyo yet. The truth is still tangled and fragile. One wrong word could turn the entire monastery against the child. Taro steels himself and steps out to face the danger. Taro steps out of the storage room and quietly closes the door behind him. Brother Rin stands in the hall, his posture rigid, his sharp gaze sweeping the shadows. Taro feels the weight of that stare like a stone on his chest. Rin asks why Taro is awake before dawn. Taro forces steady breath into his lungs and answers honestly but carefully. He heard something strange and came to check. Rin studies him, searching for cracks in his voice. Taro keeps his calm, even as sweat gathers at his neck. The silence stretches. Finally, Rin nods, though suspicion lingers in his eyes. He warns Taro that wandering at night is dangerous, especially with rumors of intruders near the monastery gates. Taro's heartbeat spikes. Are the elders already aware? Rin turns to leave but pauses, staring toward the storage door. Taro steps subtly in front of it, blocking the view. For a moment, Rin seems ready to question him. Then he walks away. Only when his steps fade does Taro let his breath escape. Taro slips back into the storage room where Ina and Kyo wait in silence. Kyo's trembling eases when he sees Taro return unharmed. Ina whispers anxiously, asking if Rin suspects anything. Taro shakes his head but admits they must move before dawn fully breaks. The monastery will soon burst with activity, and hiding a child will be nearly impossible. Kyo presses close to Ina, fear clouding his face. Taro kneels beside him and explains they need to reach Master Sojin. If anyone can judge fairly, it's him. But Kyo hesitates, saying he overheard monks fearing Sojin's reaction to the truth hidden in the scriptures. That revelation stings Taro. He has always trusted the elder. Still, he promises Kyo that Sojin listens with more heart than anger. They have no time to doubt. As footsteps echo faintly again, Taro leads them toward a lesser-used passageway. Taro guides them through the narrow passageway, its stone walls cold against their shoulders. This route is rarely used. Even the air feels forgotten. Kyo clings to Ina as they walk, frightened by every distant creak. Taro tries to keep his thoughts steady, but doubt presses at the edges of his mind. What if Kyo is right about the elders hiding something? What if the truth is more dangerous than they realized? As they turn a corner, a soft hum echoes through the hall, the low, steady chant of monks beginning morning prayers. If they reach the temple courtyard without being seen, they might slip into Sojin's chambers before the elders gather. But a sudden soft thunder of approaching footsteps interrupts Taro's plan. Someone is running toward the passage from behind. Ina gasps, and Kyo tenses like a startled deer. Taro motions them to hide behind an old tapestry, praying the narrow hall will keep their presence hidden. The footsteps grow louder, quick, and uneven. Someone is running in fear, not pursuit. Taro hesitates, unsure if they should reveal themselves or stay hidden. Then a young monk bursts into view, panting heavily, his robes disheveled. He leans against the wall, gripping his chest as if he's been running for his life. Taro recognizes him from daily chores, but cannot remember his name. The young monk mutters shakily about, whispers in the archive, and voices where no one stands. Taro's breath tightens. It isn't just Kyo. Something else is stirring the monastery's halls. Ina glances at Taro, fear rising in her eyes. Kyo hides deeper behind her, overwhelmed. Before Taro can speak, the monk spots him and freezes in shock. He asks why Taro and the others are here, but Taro steps forward calmly, trying to keep him from shouting. If this monk panics, everything could unravel. Taro gently grips the young monk's shoulders, urging him to breathe. The monk's shaking slowly calms. He explains that he heard chanting inside the archive long before dawn. Voices layered over each other, none of them belonging to monks he knew. When he approached, the voices stopped instantly, and the air grew freezing cold. Taro feels a chill move through him. Something unknown has entered the monastery, and the scriptures may be at the center of it. Ina asks the monk to keep quiet about seeing them, but Taro warns him, "If they reveal themselves, the her voice trembling but sincere. The monk nods, still frightened. Taro thanks him and leads Ina and Kyo quickly down the hall. Time is slipping through their fingers like sand. They must reach Master Sojin before fear spreads, before suspicion grows, and before the truth is swallowed by panic. With every step, the weight of responsibility grows heavier on Taro's shoulders. Taro leads Ina and Kyo toward the elder quarters, each step heavy with worry. Morning light begins to spill through the high windows, washing the halls in soft gold. Soon the monks will wake, and the quiet passages will become crowded. Taro knows they are running out of time. Kyo clings to Ina, trembling with each echoing sound. The boy's fear feels contagious, slipping under Taro's skin. The revelation that the scriptures may hide a lie keeps twisting inside him. Everything he believed his whole life suddenly feels unstable. As they near a bend in the hall, Taro stops. Master Sojin's room lies just ahead, but so does Elder Hyo's, the one known for guarding the oldest texts with fierce devotion. If Hisao sees Kyo, the consequences may be severe. Taro glances back at Ina. She nods, ready to follow whatever choice he makes. Taro breathes deeply. They must move forward, no matter the risk. Taro steps toward Master Sojin's door, but before he can knock, the door slides open. Master Sojin stands there, already awake, his wise eyes focused sharply on Taro as if expecting him. Sojin asks why the three children wander so early. Taro hesitates, unsure how much to reveal. Kyo hides behind Ina, trembling. Sojin's eyes shift to the boy, and a flicker of concern crosses his face. Instead of anger, he gestures them inside. Taro feels a wave of relief. Inside Sojin's chamber, the air is warm, filled with the faint scent of incense. Taro explains everything. The burnt page, the hidden note, the mysterious voices, and Kyo's fear. Sojin listens silently, his expression deepening with every word. When Taro finishes, Sojin does not question the truth. Instead, he asks to see the note. His calmness unnerves Taro, as if Sojin has been waiting for this moment far longer than they have. Master Sojin takes the scorched note carefully, his fingers tracing the burnt edges. His eyes linger on the remaining words, and for the first time, Taro sees genuine sorrow in them. Sojin explains quietly that long ago, a disagreement split the monastery's founders. Some believed truth should be written and preserved forever. Others believe truth must live through action, not ink. To prevent conflict, a painful choice was made: to hide certain teachings that might divide the monks. Sojin admits he suspected these hidden pages would one day resurface. Kyo looks confused, unsure if he has done right or wrong. Sojin kneels before the boy, telling him that bravery sometimes looks like fear. Taro listens closely, feeling the world tilt. The faith he grew up in is more complicated than he ever knew. But before Sojin can speak further, a sudden knock rattles the chamber door, stern, demanding, unmistakable. Elder Hisao has arrived. The door slides open before Sojin can answer. Elder Hisao stands in the frame, his expression carved in stone. His gaze locks onto Kyo instantly. Taro steps forward instinctively, shielding the boy. Hisao demands an explanation, accusing the children of intruding into sacred spaces. Sojin rises calmly and tells Hyo that the boy carries a truth they must face, not silence. Hisao's eyes narrow. He warns that the scriptures are the foundation of the monastery and must never be questioned. Taro feels anger rise, fear disguised as authority. Hisao moves as if to seize Kyo, but Sojin raises a hand, stopping him with a single quiet command. The room holds its breath. Sojin insists that the truth should not be controlled but understood. Hisao's jaw tight. He turns sharply and orders all elders to meet in the Great Hall at once. The coming confrontation feels inevitable and dangerous. The moment Hisao leaves, Sojin turns to Taro, Ina, and Kyo with urgency. He explains that the elders will want to punish Kyo for daring to interfere with the scriptures. Some may believe he carries a curse. Sogin says the only way to protect the boy is to reveal the truth publicly. Every hidden page, every buried teaching. Taro feels fear grip him, but also a spark of purpose. Aina stands tall beside him, ready to fight for what is right. Kyo trembles, overwhelmed by the weight placed on his small shoulders. Sojin assures him he won't face this alone. Together they will take the hidden truth to the Great Hall. Taro senses the turning point of everything he believes. The steps they take next could fracture the monastery forever, or free it. As they move toward the hall, the air feels electric with coming change. Taro walks beside Sogin, feeling the weight of the entire monastery pressing against his back. Every hallway feels louder now, with morning footsteps gathering. Ina stays close to Kyo, keeping him calm as they approach the Great Hall. Taro tries to quiet the storm inside him. Fear, hope, doubt, courage all tangled tightly. Sogin carries the scorched note as gently as one would carry a spark that could burn or enlighten. The echoes of chanting grow stronger as they near the hall. Taro's heart thumps in rhythm with those voices, knowing the elders are waiting. Kyo whispers if the monks will be angry. Sogin's soft answer. Truth upsets those who fear it, doesn't calm the boy, but it gives Taro strength. As they reach the tall wooden doors of the Great Hall, Taro realizes there is no turning back. What happens next will change everything inside these sacred walls. The Great Hall vibrates with murmurs the moment Taro and the others enter. Rows of monks turn with sharp curiosity, some whispering, some frowning. Elder Hisao sits near the front, posture stiff, eyes cold with judgment. Master Sojin steps forward, asking for silence. His voice carries deeper than usual, steady but heavy. Taro feels the air tense as Sojin raises the scorched note and explains the child's discovery. Gasps ripple through the room. Hisao rises, declaring it blasphemy to question the purity of the scriptures. Sojin counters that hiding truth is the real betrayal. Taro watches the room shift, some monks fearful, others uncertain. Kyo clings to Ina, trembling at the hostile attention. Taro steps closer, ready to protect him. Sojin announces that the sealed archive must be opened, and the original hidden pages revealed. Hisao slams his staff against the floor, refusing. The hall teeters between tradition and truth. Hisao accuses Sojin of endangering the monastery with foolish stories. He claims the scriptures are flawless, and that outsiders like Kyo bring corruption. Taro feels heat rise in his chest and speaks out, saying Kyo only brought truth they were too afraid to see. The hall stirs with shock. Young monks rarely challenge elders. Hisao turns his glare on Taro, calling him naive, but Sojin stands beside Taro, his voice calm and firm. He declares that faith cannot fear the truth, and if a lie is hidden inside their teachings, they must confront it. Hisao counters by claiming only he knows the full history. The tension climbs until Sogin requests that the sealed chest of ancient pages be brought forth. Hisao refuses, insisting they remain untouched. Taro steps forward, realizing silence will protect no one. The hall watches. Breath held. A sudden crash echoes. Brother Rin steps forward holding the sealed chest. His expression is torn, as though duty fights with conscience. He says the monks deserve the full truth, even if it wounds their pride. Hisao shouts for him to stop, but Rin sets the chest in the center of the hall. Taro feels a surge of gratitude for the man who once stood ready to seize them. Rin meets Taro's eyes briefly, giving a small nod. Sogin approaches the chest slowly, placing his hand on the ancient wood. The room falls into a heavy silence. Hisao warns that opening it will destroy centuries of faith. Sojin replies that faith built on fear is already broken. Taro feels his heart pounding as the latch creaks. Kyo steps closer, clinging to Ina. Every monk leans forward, caught between dread and hope. The moment the chest opens will decide the monastery's future. The latch clicks open. A collective inhale sweeps through the hall. Inside the chest lie ancient pages, some pristine, others torn or burned long ago. Sogen lifts the first page, revealing teachings focused on compassion, honesty, and confronting falsehood even within sacred places. The monks murmur in growing shock. Hisao steps forward, fury trembling through him. He protests that those pages were hidden to protect the monastery from division. Sogen replies that hiding truth created the very danger Hisao feared. Taro watches Hisao's mask crack. Beneath the anger lies deep fear and guilt. As more pages are revealed, the hall grows silent, not in disbelief, but in awakening. Kiyo's eyes widen, seeing that his journey mattered. Taro feels a shift inside the room, like a storm breaking. The truth is out, and now everyone must decide what to do with it. Silence holds the great hall as the truth settles over every monk like dust drifting through sunlight. Taro feels the weight lift slowly from his chest, though tension still coils around Elder Hisao. The elder steps back, shaken, his voice trembling as he insists that exposing these teachings will tear the monastery apart. Sogen answers softly that the division already lived inside their walls, hidden in fear. Kiyo watches Hisao with wide, uncertain eyes, unsure if the man is enemy or victim of his own beliefs. The monks begin murmuring, some fearful, others hopeful. Taro sees a shift in their faces, a spark of understanding awakening in them. Ina squeezes Kiyo's hand, gently grounding him. Sogen asks the elders to embrace the truth and let the monastery rebuild itself with honesty. Hisao lowers his gaze, wrestling with emotions he never allowed himself to feel. The hall waits, holding its breath. Hisao finally raises his trembling voice. He confesses that long ago, he helped seal the hidden pages. He believed protecting the monastery meant silencing anything that challenged its teaching. His fear hardened into strict rules and unquestionable authority. As he speaks, Taro realizes Hisao is not a villain, but a man crushed by the burden of preserving perfection. Hisao turns to Kiyo, his voice cracking as he apologizes for calling him an intruder. Kiyo steps half behind Ina, unsure if he should believe him. Sogen places a hand on Hisao's shoulder, offering forgiveness. The room sobs, but Sogen warns that forgiveness does not erase responsibility. Now they must rebuild with truth as their guide. Taro feels pride swell in his chest. Kiyo's courage changed the fate of every monk here. Hope flickers where fear once ruled. Master Sogen lifts the ancient pages gently and turns to the monks. He declares that the monastery must no longer worship words alone, but live the teachings they once buried. Kindness over pride, honesty over comfort, courage over silence. The monks bow their heads, humble. Taro feels his heart thrum with a new sense of purpose. Ina smiles at him, proud of how far they've come. Kiyo steps forward timidly, asking what will happen to him now. Sogen kneels to meet his eyes, telling him the monastery will protect him and help him heal. Tears gather in Kiyo's lashes as relief finally sinks in. Taro offers him a gentle smile. The hall feels lighter, as though a storm has passed and left new air behind. The monks begin discussing how to restore the teachings, how to rebuild trust, how to move forward. Taro stands in the center of it all, feeling the quiet power of truth. Later, the monastery courtyard fills with peaceful morning air. The tension of the hall has melted into a gentle, reflective quiet. Taro sits with Kiyo under the tall cedar tree, watching monks move through the grounds with softer steps than before. Kiyo asks if he did something wrong by burning the scriptures. Taro shakes his head, telling him that bravery sometimes looks messy and confusing, but he followed his heart. Ina joins them, teasing Taro for sounding like a wise monk already. Taro laughs for the first time that morning. Sogin approaches and sits beside them, saying the hardest part of faith is letting go of old fears to make room for truth. Kyo leans into Sojin's side, finally at ease. Taro glances at the monastery buildings, now touched by warm light, and feels a new beginning unfolding. As the sun climbs higher, Taro stands at the edge of the courtyard, watching monks gather to restore the hidden pages to their rightful place. The once shadowed archive now feels open, bright, and honest. Kyo walks beside him, no longer trembling, his steps steadier. Ina joins them, nudging Taro to look toward Master Sogin, who nods as if passing on a silent blessing. Taro realizes the truth. Faith is not about perfect words or flawless history. It is about choosing courage even when fear tries to silence you. Kyo thanks Taro softly for believing him when no one else did. Taro smiles, feeling warmth bloom in his chest. Together, they step toward the future the monastery must now build, one shaped not by fear, but by truth. And as they walk into the sunlight, Taro feels certain this was only the beginning of a new chapter for all of them.